You know, every photo you take, every song you download, every single document you write, it all has to live somewhere. But where? Today, we're going to dive deep into the world of digital storage, the invisible, unsung hero of your entire digital life. Let's pull back the curtain and see how it all really works.
I mean, think about it for a second. You click Save, and your work just vanishes. It's safe, it's sound, and it's ready for you whenever you need it. It feels like magic, right? Well, it's not. It's the start of a journey into a very real, physical world of chips and magnets and electrons. So come on, let's follow that file.
Okay, so before we can find that file of yours, we need to understand the neighborhood it lives in. We've got to start with the absolute basics, the physical hardware that makes saving anything even possible.
Every single storage system has two fundamental parts. First, you've got the storage medium. Think of this as the paper your data is written on, like a CD or a memory chip. Then you have the storage device. That's the pen that does the writing and the eyes that do the reading, like the CD drive itself. One holds the information, the other reads and writes it. That's pretty much it. And here's the single most important thing to understand about storage: it's non-volatile. That's just a fancy way of saying it's permanent. Your data sticks around even after you shut the power off. This is the complete opposite of your computer's active memory, or RAM, which is volatile. RAM is like your short-term memory. The second the power goes out, poof, it forgets everything. Storage is the long-term memory. It's the reason you don't have to start from scratch every single time you turn on your computer.
All right, let's crack open the case and look inside your computer. For decades, the undisputed king of storage, the absolute workhorse, has been the hard drive. It's where your operating system, your biggest applications, and pretty much all of your files have traditionally called home.
So how does this old-school magic work? A traditional magnetic hard drive, an HDD, is kind of like a tiny, incredibly fast record player. You've got these metal platters spinning at thousands of revolutions per minute, all coated in magnetic material. A tiny little arm with a read/write head zips across those platters, flipping the magnetism of tiny spots to represent all the ones and zeros that make up your data. It keeps everything organized in these perfect circles called tracks and little pie slices called sectors.
But, all that spinning and seeking, that mechanical movement takes time. It has physical limits. So the world needed something faster, something silent, something with no moving parts at all.
And that brings us to the two main players today. On one side, you have our old friend, the magnetic HDD. Its superpower? Tons and tons of space for a really low price. On the other side, you've got the solid-state drive, or SSD. No spinning disks here, just flash memory chips. With zero moving parts, it's totally silent, way more durable, and just unbelievably fast. We're talking booting up your computer in seconds, not minutes. The only catch? It's usually a bit more expensive for the same amount of space. That's why a lot of people use a speedy SSD for their operating system and a big HDD for all their files.
So that SSD technology leads us right to the stuff that completely changed the game for portability. I'm talking about flash memory, the little unsung hero that powers pretty much every mobile device you own.
So how does this stuff work without any magnets or spinning parts? Well, flash memory is all about trapping electrons. You can picture it as a massive grid with millions of microscopic cells. Each cell can either trap electrons or let them go. A cell that's holding electrons becomes a 0, and an empty one becomes a 1. It's just like a giant board of light switches that remember if they're on or off, even with no power.
And this technology, it is absolutely everywhere. The main storage inside your smartphone that gives you instant access to all your apps and photos, yep, that's flash memory.
That little SD card you pop into your digital camera to store thousands of high-res pictures, that's flash memory too. And, of course, the humble USB stick hanging on your keychain. It's the ultimate example of cheap, portable flash memory that we all take for granted.
So far, everything we've talked about is storage you can actually hold in your hand. But what about when your file doesn't live on your device at all? Okay, it's time to talk about the cloud.
But before we even get into what the cloud is, let's just lock down this one simple idea. Remote storage is just any storage you get to over a network, like the internet, instead of plugging it right into your machine. The cloud is just the biggest, most famous version of that.
So when you upload a file to the cloud, what's actually happening? It seems mystical, but it's a very physical journey. First, your file gets broken up into little packets of data and sent securely over the internet. Where's it going? To a data center, a gigantic, climate-controlled building filled with powerful computers called servers. And what's inside all those servers? You guessed it, racks and racks of the exact same hard drives, both HDDs and SSDs, that we've been talking about this whole time. The cloud isn't some vapor in the sky. It's a warehouse full of hardware.
So why is it so popular? Well, first there's a universal access, right? I can start a document on my computer, tweak it on my phone on the bus, and then share it with a friend on the other side of the planet. It gives us automatic backups, it powers collaboration tools like Google Docs, and it's the engine behind basically every social media site you use. Okay, now that we've looked at all the different homes your data can live in, from the drive spinning inside your computer to these massive remote data centers, how do you choose? Well, it all comes down to picking the right tool for the job. Let's just break it down nice and simple. If you've got a massive movie library or years of photo archives, a big magnetic HDD is your best bet. It's cheap and spacious. For running your computer's operating system and your most used apps, you want the blazing speed of an SSD. For just moving a few files from one computer to another, a little USB flash drive is perfect. And for backups, for syncing files across all your devices, and for accessing anything from anywhere, that's where the cloud shines. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Everything we've talked about is working overtime to deal with an absolutely mind-boggling explosion of data. Seriously, the amount of digital information in the world is doubling roughly every 2 years. Which leaves us with one final, massive question. As our digital universe keeps expanding at this incredible rate, all this technology, the drives in our homes, the servers in the cloud, has to evolve even faster just to keep up. The race for more, faster, and cheaper storage is one of the biggest hidden challenges of our time. So, where are we going to put it all?